very good day to all you patriots, and welcome back to Tall Ship Tuesday. When we last left off our story, I had told you that I recently disembarked at Boston and had learned that Providence was trapped in Newport harbour as the result of a British blockade. Now, you might assume that this would make for a very quiet winter aboard Providence, and so it did. Except when it didn't. Providence was not alone in Narragansett Bay. She was in the company of the frigate Warren, the ship Columbus, and the new frigate Providence. Now, why they chose to name the new frigate Providence is beyond my ken. It will do nothing but cause confusion for the remainder of the war, but never mind that for now. Although technically still under my command, Providence was being repaired under the watchful eye of my first lieutenant, Jonathan Pitcher, and by default he became acting captain. It was on the 7th of December when the British fleet first arrived. Sir Peter Parker led the fleet of 78 British ships of war and transports carrying 7,000 troops to Rhode Island. They quickly formed a line at the mouth to Newport harbour. Now, the 4 Continental Navy ships were facing northward, and I learned from my Marine Lieutenant John Trevitt that they fired 3 shots in order to taunt the British. Now, 3 British warships responded by promptly packing on sail and quickly giving chase. They followed the ships up through the bay and into Providence River. Now, they hadn't noticed that our ships were planning to run them aground in Providence River until it was much too late for them to even realise what was happening. They quickly gave up, and our ships continued on to Providence, the town. And there they stayed, bottled up by force and by weather. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. The town of Newport now came entirely under the control of the British, and the town of Providence slowly strangled with the loss of their commercial shipping. Now, you might think at this time was when everything would quiet down for Providence and the other ships, and it did at first. But our men cannot stay quiet for long. They took part in an assault on the British ship Diamond, which had run aground at Warwick Neck. It was a minor affair, to be certain, but Providence's shallow draft allowed it to come close enough that she could use her 4-pounders to damage the stern of Diamond, which must have given a bit of satisfaction to the men. But in February, they had the opportunity for a more exciting affair. They received word that a British schooner had gone ashore at Prudence Island. Captain John Hopkins, who was the son of our Commodore, took command of Providence and sailed her down to go and take a look. Now, when Providence arrived, they discovered that the British crewmen were scrambling to escape the ship after they had set it afire. Thinking to put out the flames and take control of the ship for the Continental Navy, Hopkins decided to gather a boarding party. And just as they were about to set out, the schooner exploded. You see, the British crewmen had left behind a powder trail with the intention and the hopes of blowing our men to their deaths. The crew of Providence was lucky to escape with their lives. But I'm certain they learned a valuable lesson that day about maybe it's not so great to trifle with the British, no matter how frustrated you might be at your inability to return to sea. What is the best thing to do when you are prevented from continuing on with your work? In the usual course of life, we go about our daily business, no matter if you are serving aboard a ship, or guiding a plough, or even trading in goods. Apart from the celebration of the Sabbath, every day is much like the one before. But on occasion, an event might happen that will interrupt the course of your daily life, and what then? Well, for our men in Rhode Island, they took it upon themselves to engage in small acts of rebellion against the British in order to keep their own spirits up and to keep the British on their toes. For myself, I take the opportunity of unexpected time to read the closest book. What would you do if you were becalmed in one place for months at a time? I suppose the answer might be different depending on the person, but enough of such thoughts for now. All blockades must come to an end, and this would be no different. And which ship do you think was the first to break through that line? Oh, well, we'll have to reconvene another time to hear the answer to that one. I see I'm being called away to another task, but I do thank you very much for your time, and I bid you a good day.